especially if you are a great awakening community. Censorship and shadow ban of information was something very prominent, and including the most powerful men in the planet Earth had to experience such a level of restriction, um, of censorship. The president of USA even had to go through this kind of limitations. Now, one of these lessons that we have to learn in 3D present planet is unpacking everything, and everything is a lesson to be unpacked and released. Censorship and limiting information from people, or suppression of information, or giving you a different sort of hinder your growth kind of information, because we are we have this obsession about how we control information. You experience that in your personal life, especially if you are one of those black sheeps, and you learn these lessons. And one of the most important thing when we're learning about information and the hypocrisy and all of these things, they are sabotaged by design, but they are very ordinary. If you pay attention, you realize very quickly these external entities aren't all that intelligent. They are their judgment is really off. They're shameless, vomit worthy even. It's not coming from a rational thinking. It's not coming from objective thinking. So then we immediately know that this level of deception is done in your personal life, in your social structure, by design, deliberate sabotage. But if we're awakened enough, we are taking these things as an opportunity to correct ourselves and get us back into a right path, and keep looking for appropriate information that is going to line up with your mind, body, and spirit. And this is how the information warfare, and we stay connected indefinitely, narrowing down the lessons that needs to be unpacked. And as human beings, if we can't recognize one of these things, hypocrisy is where we're at, is one of the basic lessons, I guess, for the human condition. Hypocrisy, what do I mean by hypocrisy? Hypocrisy is simple word, but it's got a depth, but it's social circumstances. This is how our social structure functions, because hypocrisy for a logical thinking, rational thinking, mind, body, spirit individual, it doesn't come so effortlessly. It's hard things to come by. Hypocrisy, what you've gone through in your personal life, especially if we're not living in a nuclear family like myself or my childhood. Hypocrisy for me was that I never really voiced my opinions because I was living with the extended family, or someone who married into my family. I had to have these encounters for a few years. And so, because of that reason, I never voiced my opinion. I never make a judgment call. I never disagree. I never agree. I had to be such a non-existence individual, like a slimy existence. It's not your divine human beings, your mind, body, spirit. You have opinions, you have likes and dislikes, but it was very difficult to express them because we don't want to upset the external environment, because the second you have voice some opinion or express something, there got a consequences. So then we have to live in a slimy existence. It's going to go internal and physical eventually, because this is not the healthy way of growth in the normal functioning environment. So therefore we have to be uh, proactive, and when you decided this is not working, this is wrong, this is a way to nowhere, just because I gained something, because I had to now, because when you're a young person you need to live with some adults, and when you have to do that, you sacrifice your divine mind, body, and spirit in order to exist. And that's nowhere, it doesn't take you anywhere but extreme depression, extreme discomfort, not wanting to live. And these are the emotional circumstances that you had to experience. But this immediately, when you realize that it's not what you uh, are made of, this is not how the normal existence all about, I end up um, immigrating to this great country here in North America. But nevertheless, it was a slimy existence for a while. But how do you transfer this level of basic personal wisdom into our external circumstances? Because uh, we're facing in a real life situations now, when we are facing censorship to information. We are not allowed to be proactive and have discussions about information and make up your own mind. Now, the victimhood and slimy existence is that we take things at a face value. We think that employment is always got your best interest. This is how you elevate your circumstances. This is how you gain comfort and options. But what happened is, we saw the real face of what this really mean. Of course, there are a level that you can participate in these things and you can empower yourself. For me, employment really gave me the opportunity to gain my own space and time and space while I am doing a public service, like in a healthcare sector. But it was a learning experience. It's like a school of life. You get information to as exactly what humans are going through across the world, because it's such a multicultural place. But the human struggles are very similar. It doesn't really matter what is your background, but the human struggles are real. They all have across the board the same challenges: ill health, the poor health, the depression, disconnection, not having the support of the families, or you can't rely on anybody. These are like the spiritual disconnection, the economic struggles, and uh, these are all from a different people from different backgrounds, but the human challenges are very similar across the board. So this is something that you learn, because you maintain to observe and maintain a judgment call. And if we aren't allowed to seek information, that is a very problematic. Now, the difference between doers and the ones who benefit because we are doers, and they are always people are lined up to complete tasks and do things, while they weren't allowed to get a living reasonable wages for a maintained dignity. It's not impossible, but it's very challenging. You have to be extremely focused to stay vigilant about these energy draining sources because they are all around us. Is up to you to maintain a level of extreme discipline to protect yourself so that you can have a time and space for make a judgment call, or at least a little bit of time. So these are important points and important information that we can pay attention. Now, if there are not individuals who are willing to take care of you, then they have no business of limiting information so that you can make a appropriate judgment call. So this is the one thing. The hypocrisy is level of existence. It's a slimy existence, like I was as a child, because I was living with someone. I didn't voice any opinion. I didn't, because I don't want to upset the normal existence, but I was suffering internally. Major setback for my growth, and but because I stay connected to the source God, because I know my self-worth, because I already know everything about my character, so then it really doesn't matter what other opinions or information sabotage that is coming from the gatekeepers. It really doesn't matter, because you are the one who have to live your life, and you are the one who is owner of your mind, body, and spirit. Then you can make a judgment call. And when you decided this is not for me, I'm done with this, because I knew that I was that little girl then picking up flowers and making things nice and happy, and have a laughter and sort of there. And it's because I know my worth. Same thing in the much later in life, in these social issues that we're facing, or political, social, spiritual warfare that we're facing. We need to stay vigilant and make a judgment call. And when we know that our employers ask this horrible thing, that you have to sacrifice something that is so precious and so important to you, like doing something experimental and is without the informed consent, because we don't have the access to appropriate information to make that kind of judgment call. But what we have to realize, doers are always doing something. They are shifting, they're working, they are, without the doers, nothing will exist. We call them essential workforce. We know that firsthand. Without the support of these so-called masses, the sheeps and the useless eaters, without their doings, nothing is matter. So in order for us to maintain that healthy ecosystem, we have to really know what we are putting out. We know where we stand. We have to be able to recognize the hypocrisy. Now, at this time, these group of people, usually from mainstream, they make a judgment call. They are not worthy enough to even have employment. You're not worthy enough to go to a store or have a tea in your coffee shop that you went for like 30 years. You don't have that opportunity. You are barred from that because you make a judgment call. So that's the hypocrisy. What is the true face of these little groups, these business models? They really want something that you are not willing to sacrifice. So that's one thing that we have to recognize, because we always says, oh well, I need to have a paycheck, I got a house, I got children. Of course everything is so true, but what happened is you are doing a slimy existence, because you're not voicing your opinion. You don't take a stance. You don't know how to navigate information. You don't know your own self-worth. You don't know your own self boundaries. So then We have expectation everybody should jump in that ship and go down deep end, because no one have opinion, no one have any discipline, no one have to have any boundaries. This is not a healthy environment. They have done that to the most powerful man in the world. Uh, they block his information communication face with the public, and that is not something that we can stand. And then hypocrisy is when it happening to another group. We are voicing your opinion now. All of a sudden, we are united. We are all of these things. That is a slimy existence. That's a hypocrisy, because we say, well, because we have to get a paycheck, because we need to protect our job, and this is, but we don't know if it is accurate information. We don't make a judgment call. We don't know if it's going to promote good health. We don't know how it's going to affect us long term. So then we make a judgment call. Maybe it's going to sabotage yourself in the long run. So what is the purpose? And these are the information that we need to unpack and go down the rabbit hole and do all these research and get well informed, because spiritual warfare is a real thing. If we were nobody, if we are useless eaters, no one really put this much effort to control so heavily and sabotage and deliberate sabotage into our existence. So this is how we know we are enslaved human race. This is how we know that we can't trust the external factors to protect our best interest. We go further, we are so shameless. If someone who is going to, if we were trapped a chicken, we can be like, there's opportunity for us to be a free run chickens, maybe have a much more freedom, much more options, and live in a nice open a sanctuary. We can't even comprehend this is a possibility, because we are not living our authentic connected life to our source God. So this is another judgment call and observation. Now, if they really want to do research from the masses and monitor us every day, every single thing, there is us like really nobody, just ordinary nobody is coming here and speaking about these observations. Gotta tell you something, because some people, even though we are so quick to dismiss and discard these masses, they are the doers, they are the most awakened, they are the most connected. And us little chickens, we have a really nice laugh at some point, like years ago, because we are awakened to this level of deception and censorship of information and not having accurate information. The integrity is not there, transparency is not there, deliberate sabotage happening every day, everywhere. We are open to these kind of information. It's just that we never had a reason to, or we never come forward to have these open opinion and discussions, because we were shadow existence, slimy existence, because we also uses these employment things, although it doesn't make any sense. They are so parasitic. They are such a gatekeepers, and nothing make any sense. They can't let you be happy and do something. We knew we have a laughing contest because of that. We are hysterically laughing how unpractical, how irrational these systems are. They are so fragile. When the doors say no more, what are we going to do? So when we masses hold all the powers in the world, um, they are continue to engage in such a low vibrational some things that not making any sense, they keep on going, even though sometimes it got us personal. It's affect our personal mind, body, and spirit, because we are existing. We're not thriving. We're existing in a parasitic system. So it's not appropriate balance thing for mind, body, and spirit. So this is how we navigate information. Censorship of information prevent you from making judgment call, but this is only on the surface level. Internally, energetically, vibrationally, we are aware what's going on. It's just that we need to gain enough confidence, enough uh, confident and be stable enough to make these judgment calls and unpack them and release them. This is how we overcome these hypocrisy and information spiritual warfare. The hypocrisy is also, it was okay for one group to let go of another group of employees because of their judgment call for their own life that affects their own life, mind, body, and spirit. But now it happens in the social structure. The whole bunch of the gatekeepers are letting go of because of the deception, because of the unnecessary spending, because someone is paying attention to be transparent and make a judgment call. These people are to be let go now. So then they all of a sudden shift the focus, and the hypocrisy go into overdrive, and all of a sudden we have empathy and sympathy, and we are united, we are connected, we are singing the anthem, everything. So this is another layer of hypocrisy that we can unpack and release. Because when we know what we are, where we are at, it is so much easier for us to make these important personal decisions that affects your mind, body, and spirit. What we are also the economy, the whole time, the essential workforce doesn't even get the living wages, right? And it was okay um, for them to thrive on these circumstances, because essential, the doers are continue to do, while others get they are expanding their resources, they are expanding their uh, capturing things, they are hoarding the financial resources. But in the real world, it's not even able to keep you afloat. You're taking in more from the people, the masses. And this is something now, when we are realizing where all the monies go, where how it's all wasteful things, and it's hindering people's progress and the joy, and all of these important things, we don't have anything. We are continuously going on about the deficit and the economic problems, everything. Do we have to be burdened by all of these unnecessary spending? It's not logical, it's not practical, it's not honorable, because we are feeding into some things that is wasteful. It's like you are putting your paycheck, flushing it down the toilet. So these things need to be addressed, and there's opportunity for us to be transparent, and opportunity for you to learn about transparency and your contribution into these problems. Same thing with the, we are going on about the our Great Awakening community is continuously discovering things like the chemtrails and all of these things. But then if you talk to anyone, no one is willing to take responsibility. They're like, oh, well, I'm just doing my job. I'm not the one to talk because somebody made that decision. So then you think that you can escape the you can escape the repercussions because of your contribution. You would happily go up there and spray things because somebody order you to, and you also get a paycheck. What kind of existence is that? This is the things that we need to unpack, the level of hypocrisy. You can't, even the mainstream, they go and lie every day because it's theatrical, because it's what they get paid to do, because they are obligated, so they blame everybody else. But what is your personal responsibility? For me, I don't think I can do anything against my mind, body, spirit, and my belief system. My integrity gets sacrificed. If someone tell me I gotta wear long things and I gotta do this face for 2 hours and create a persona for myself so I get $1 billion, I probably go hard no. Absolutely hard no, because I know the discomfort of not being your authentic self. And maybe I can do so much to improve, but there's some things that I am just simply not going to do because it's affect my well-being. And this is what living authentic life is, that you just be. Just like when you're a child, people ask you what kind of job you want to do. For me, I never have an answer. I'm like, oh, I say something so outrageous. I'm just going to climb trees and pick some fruits or whatever, and everybody laugh, because I knew in my heart something that I just want to be me, express me, do things that I want to do. But then in real world, you have to get a job where you're close to, you do like a office work for 5 minutes, and this is not for me. Then you go out and get this job at a healthcare gig, go to school for a little couple of years and do all that, is because you think you are empowering yourself, empowering another. But then you realize that it's going to wear out real quick. It's going to have an effect because we built a system where people are suffering and they are making enormous level of money because you're in this end game. Was always a victimhood, right? There is no space. If you're not careful, you can get dragged in so deep so quickly, you never know how to come back, because this is how the ill care system happens. Because someone is there are like hundreds and hundreds of different jobs because of that. So in order to maintain ill health is a real work. They are like others external gatekeepers. They are causing whole different sector of ecosystem that is thriving because of your suffering, your poor health, your poor judgment, your lack of ability to um, and process information. So this is another factor. So this is how we stay vigilant and make a sense out of this information sabotage, the censorship and shadow banning and banned of understanding information, because we already know the external factors, they cannot survive without our misfortune, without our doing, because we are the doers, and the doers, they are so hostile towards doers. They segregate them socially. They label you something, your worker, because you shift something, because you put your work, your mind, body, spirit vessel into this work and shifting something, while everybody else work from home. Yeah, it's a mockery, making mockery out of human mind, body, spirit vessels, because most of us are doers. They are really awakened. They just never spoken up. And some of these people thrive in this kind of balanced life, which is admirable. And this is what, these are the people that's supposed to come forward and have a discussion. Even if you live in the subsidies, some people, they live in a very extraordinary, joyous life, because you know how to do, because you are doers. So this is how we change something. This is how we shift something. Instead of phony, hypocritical existence, we are to thrive in something more substantial, something that's lined up with your core mind, body, and spirit. This is how we challenge and overcome these spiritual warfare, because the external creators aren't all that intelligent. They said they have the technology. Sure, they got these fancy technologies. Um, they are working overtime, but ever since that the people start being creative, people start doing something different, they're coming up with, well, AI is writing an essay, or AI is doing this, AI is doing that. So then, because they are so hysterically afraid of the real talents of real people's behaviors and creativity, they got an AI put onto the social display. Meanwhile, they couldn't have done something so substantial for the masses, like health, in the health sector, how to heal, this therapies and all of these things. Instead of useless flying cars or whatever, we are spending our time and energy talking about all of these things. But it's a personal responsibility. We are responsible for ourselves, and not to exist in a victimhood, and not to be hypocritical, make a substantial stand towards all the social causes that's uh, going to promote real growth amongst the human species and the environment and the animal kingdom. These are the things that shows the real growth and the real courage, the real authentic divine mind, body, and vessel that we are. So somebody is putting enormous level of time, energy, and resources into controlling the masses. We just have to be open our mind, body, and spirit and say, what is this all about? And make a judgment call, because we are so important and we are so special. We are such a beautifully created mind, body, and spirit. So it's no time to give up. We just keep on seeking information, even though it's censored, even though it's a shadow ban. When you are seeking, they are always going to find you the correct information.